Don't get hung up on style. Style isn't something you strive for. It's like breathing. It's simply within you. It's ingrained in you. The same thing goes for originality. It is you who are original, not your writing. If you write honestly, and I mean honestly in the deepest possible sense, meaning things that you believe absolutely to be true, then your book cannot be anything other than original, because it comes from your standpoint, which is unique in the world. Write honestly, and everything else will be added unto you. But style, I hear you say, is a real thing. It comes from somewhere. All right, it does. It comes from reading a lot, reading different kinds of authors, including authors you don't really take to at first. As you read, you will unconsciously select the things that jive with you. Over time, these accumulate and become your style. This is an unwitting and unconscious process. If it becomes too intentional, if you find yourself deliberately imitating some favorite author, then you are bound to fail, because that author is not you, and that wastes time. When you finally come to your senses and realize your mistake, you're going to have to undo all the little quirks and mannerisms that you were enamored with at first. Be careful what you read while you are actively working. Avoid anything that is remotely like the book you are trying to write. Nonfiction is usually okay. So are classics, and by that I mean Greek and Roman, because they come from a society which is so different from ours that you cannot possibly imitate them directly. Poetry is usually innocuous as well, as long as you don't have trouble maintaining the boundary between poetry and prose. Otherwise, you're going to wind up with purple writing, which is a bad thing, a very bad thing, as every editor and agent will be sure to tell you. Reading in a foreign language protects you from the trap of imitation. For me, F. Scott Fitzgerald is a dangerous influence because I love the things he does with words, and I really would like to write like him. Dostoevsky, on the other hand, whom I read in Russian, is perfectly safe. There's no way I can write like Dostoevsky, not as long as I write in English. If you can't read a foreign language, learn one. It will teach you a million things you never knew or suspected about how to put words together. My style reflects the kind of book I like to read. I don't have a lot of time. I don't have a lot of patience. So I prefer prose that is direct and clear. Efficient prose, if you will. Prose that's grounded in immediate reality. Now, that's not to say there's no place for wordplay or ambiguity. Prose that's too absolutely straight is bound to be flavorless. Now, that may work for a medical textbook where facts are the main thing, but in a novel it gets to be pretty monotonous. So there's a place for a certain amount of looseness How much looseness depends on you. But it's important to appreciate that a novel isn't a report, it's a vision. And most of what you're trying to say falls between the words and not in them.